February, an undeniable energy fills the air. Storefronts glow with the hues of red and pink. Restaurants unveil exclusive menus. And the scent of fresh flowers drifts through busy streets. Valentine's Day has since passed. But while it was celebrated as a day of love, it was also a crucial moment for businesses across the island. Beyond chocolates and candlelit dinners, this day fuels an entire ecosystem. From retail giants to small vendors, from high-end dining to street-side merchants, everyone feels the impact of this day of love. Join us as we explore the economic heartbeat of Valentine's Day in Jamaica through the eyes of an economist tracking consumer spending and a retailer navigating supply and demand to achieve the perfect romantic experience. This is the business of love. In Jamaica, Valentine's Day is celebrated as more than an emotional affair. It's an economic force. The demand for gifts, dining, and experiences creates a temporary but powerful surge in spending. But how deep does this financial impact go? Well, local economist Keenan Faulkner has the data.
Well, Valentine's Day is definitely up there in terms of one of the very higher spending periods. It is, not as high as Christmas, but it's more comparable with, say, Mother's Day. It provides a lot of revenue, mostly at the micro level for firms, industries, in particular sectors. So it bears some amount of importance, I think. It follows the worldwide trend, really, of high spending periods during, it's not exactly a holiday, but it's a celebration. And, just as it would be for like Black Friday or any other consumer-driven holiday.
So which business sectors, I know you alluded to the microeconomy, but which business sectors specifically would benefit the most from this celebration?
Mostly retailers, perfume stores, jewelry stores, pharmacies, obviously flower shops. So, some of them can't supply the demand of flowers during this time. So mostly those businesses and sectors and retailers, anywhere that sells the paraphernalia that's associated. Sometimes supermarkets might sell as well, and they experience a bump up in sales. They are the ones that will naturally reap the benefits from Valentine's Day celebrations. Yeah, and you also have Galentine's, you buy your girlfriend something, girls come together and celebrate in their expression of sorority and sisterhood. So it's become more than what it was in the past. And I think that even augurs well for sales because, if you're including more people, then you're likely to get more revenue. More people are going to buy into it. I mean, it can be even for family members, something. It has not just been limited to a day for lovers.
So can you speak to any data or trends that you've observed regarding consumer demographics or spending habits during Valentine's Day?
Well, it's not as clear-cut as, say, for Christmas when, the Bank of Jamaica releases more currency into circulation. So every December, you find that the currency in circulation goes up by several $1 billion. You find that ABM transactions and point-of-sale transactions tend to go up. For example, the week before Christmas or the week of Christmas. You don't typically find that data for Valentine's Day since it's right in the middle of the quarter. But if I were to look at, for example, currency in circulation, I would not be surprised if it was slightly elevated during the month of February, at least compared to January, right? Because there's always a dip in January because the spending goes down, but the spending goes up, February, then it goes up again closer to the summer and back to school, and then it goes up again in Christmas. So I think it would follow that trend.
All right. So do you think there are any long-term economic effects that come from seasonal spending?
We always adjust for seasonality when we measure economic growth and we measure other economic variables. So, it would not be fair to classify, for example, Christmas, which is typically very high spending, and then use that as an index to say that the rest of the year or the economy is going to be doing well for the rest of the period. So it will be the same thing for something like Valentine's Day. It will be the same thing for other very high spending. You sort of have to seasonally adjust in the long term if you want to get a real indication of the trend. If after having done that and you find that it's still elevated, then that clearly augurs well for the economy. It shows that people have spending power, but then there are other factors in this present day, in 2025, at this moment, that can tend to affect people's spending power. We're not quite out of the woods where the elevation of inflation is concerned. Global supply chain challenges also militate against something like Valentine's Day, which is heavy product based. If you have your suppliers and your importers and they just can't come on time, and then you would find yourself in a negative position. So we're not insulated from all of that, especially being very heavily import dependent. But it provides an opportunity, I think, in terms of diversification. Many of the things that we want to consume, particularly the things that we use, especially on Valentine's Day, why not make them here, right? Locally based, some persons probably do, but scale is an issue, but it's always nice to have that sort of autonomy in terms of what you produce.
But beyond the economic impact in consumer habits, what does this day mean for businesses preparing for the surge? To find out, we stepped inside a retail store where love sells fast. Retailers anticipate Valentine's Day weeks, some months in advance, ensuring their shelves are stocked with gifts that appeal to every type of consumer, from grand romantic gestures to simple tokens of affection. There's a popular phrase that says, "Love is in the air." Well, I don't know about the air, but I can definitely say love is in Fontana Pharmacy. From the baskets, to the chocolates, to the flowers, we can see love reflected all around. But now we ask the question, is love making money? Is love generating income? Well, that's something that I will be discussing with Chief Executive Officer of Fontana Pharmacy, Miss Ann Chang, to see whether Fontana is really generating revenue from this love season, or is love a dying thing of the past? Stay tuned as we give you more.
First of all, if you're familiar with Fontana, you know that we are very strong in seasonal generally. So Valentine's is just one of the other, one of the seasonal things that we always plan for every single year. So a lot of the goods we always buy locally and we buy foreign. So the foreign goods, we're planning like 3 months to 1 year in advance because we buy from all over. So what you'll find is, other than the Valentine's decor, a lot of the items you sell sort of the same throughout the year. You just need more of them at Valentine's Day.
How soon? You said 3 months. So it's 3 months before Valentine's Day. You begin.
That's the minimum. That's for stuff that's like easy to get. But like some of the stuff we buy it from almost a year in advance. Like we plan it. I mean, obviously it doesn't get here a year in advance, but we're buying like from China or Panama. Some of those places you have to place the orders well in advance, so they would have shipped that they wouldn't ship until like October or November.
So, what are your best selling and most popular products during the Valentine time?
Well, you'd be surprised, it's still the classics. Chocolate, stuffed animals, anything to do with fragrance. So that's body spray, perfume. That's just sort of hands down. And then everything else after that is sort of secondary. Some people like to have different things, but a lot of them like baskets, like a mix of things. So we here at Fontana, I'm sure you saw it, we do a lot of pre-made ones where we do them ourselves, knowing just sort of what's popular. We also buy some gift sets that are already made up. And then sometimes we just give suggestions to people, like put all the stuff there, kind of put it, and then they sort of mix and match and do their own. But we find it's best to plant the seed instead of leaving it up to them. They kind of like the ease of just having it there to grab and go.
I think what I was most impressed by when I stopped by today was the offerings for males. Now, typically Valentine is a female-oriented holiday, and when I went to this place,
you're 100% right.
I saw brandy, I saw colognes for males. I'm like, is this a basket for males? And they were like, yes. I'm like, wow, no one usually think about our meals. So what made you guys decide to go that?
Well, it's funny you should say that. First, I want to tell you, it's much harder to buy things for men. Like the choice is a lot more limited, but we have seen that shift. Like you're 100% right. We have seen the shift over the last few years that the men are asking for a lot more offerings, in a lot of the things that I even mentioned. So if you notice in some of our locations, we have actually even put up like male areas so that you can sort of narrow it down, that has all of that kind of stuff. So I would say we've seen that trend for like the last 5 years, and we've been building on it. And it's the same for Father's Day. It's definitely been building. Before, we never used to buy anything. And they were sort of like, hey, what about us? So that translates over into almost all of the holidays now. So it's something we focus on a lot.
Because I think our males in society need to be appreciated just as much as our females are appreciated.
I agree. And they're changing. What I'm saying is, even, they want a lot more variety in the sense, like the male scents. We have some locations where we sell more male scents than female scents, which is surprising.
So, how does the celebration impact your quarterly revenue and contributes to your annual revenue?
So, like I said, for us, if you look at every quarter, there's something seasonally. So, it's already built into our base, kind of, because it's expected. We've been doing this for 57 years, so it's already built in. But seasonal is strong for us and impacts positively every quarter that we have. Now, nothing comes close to Christmas. That is considered our Q2. But Q3 is definitely, Valentine's is definitely up there, probably after Mother's Day.
Interesting. And how do you market your Valentine's Day related products to attract customers?
So if you're also familiar, you know that we have a very strong social media presence. It's really our main channel to get across our variety and sort of what you can do when you come in store. So we try to give them an idea of what we have in store, but we also send emails. We have a website, a very, well-functioning website that you can buy, not just for information. So we rely a lot on digital presence to promote it. And then obviously we get a lot of traffic in the store. So if you notice, almost every location, the seasonal is right in the front of the location. So it grabs you right away. We put a lot of effort into decor. We have wall boards up on most of our locations that, talk about Valentine's Day is February 14th. So sort of a comprehensive one. If you look at some of the digital boards in Kingston, we would have those kinds of ads. And then we also have digital ads on our TVs in the locations that have it.
But supply chain disruptions, fluctuating costs, and last-minute shoppers create major challenges.
I will tell you that is one thing that has not changed in a very long time. So the week before is fairly busy. I will say people are definitely planning earlier. Like we've definitely started putting our things out earlier. You have people that are early, but there is nothing like the week and the day before Valentine's Day. Now, a lot of it is associated with when you get paid. So that kind of makes sense, they wait until they get paid and that sort of thing. But definitely the week before and the day before is far and away the busiest.
So, there are a few little persons out there, right, that will probably forget that Valentine's Day is coming up, or their girlfriend or wife or husband or whoever said, "Hon, it's Valentine's Day, but the event has passed." Do you guys still have offerings for those persons?
Oh yeah. So we usually, any seasonal stuff, we usually keep it out for like a minimum of a week. And sometimes 2 weeks if there isn't something like right on the heels of it. So you can absolutely get it. And remember, because we do custom stuff also, they can still make the baskets or that type of thing after. And then as I mentioned before, a lot of the goods are there all year. It's just you do more. Really, the thing that would be the least is, the stuffed animals. That would definitely be dwindling down, and we don't typically, like the ones that have the hearts and like very Valentines, those would probably be mostly gone, but there's always stuff afterwards.
Or what challenges do you face when you're stocking up for Valentine's Day? I know that you say you order like a year in advance and so forth. What challenges do you face?
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like we've been doing this for such a long time. Like we usually get the product mix. I'd say the biggest challenge, because we have so many locations now, is to really make sure that the goods are in the store that is really selling it.
But the burning question that's been weighing on all our minds is, what type of impact does Valentine's Day really have on Jamaica's economy? Is it just another commercial holiday, or does it bring lasting financial benefits? Let's hear the final words from our local economist and business owner.
I think it can only be positive. I mean, anything that induces people to spend is always a good thing. And with Jamaica's economy being so heavily tilted towards retail, wholesale, other sorts of, just exchanging money, buying and selling, creating services, creating value. That is how you get economies to be robust, especially in this time where, there is a recessionary risk, right? And you only get out of that risk, you mitigate that risk by influencing consumer spending. And so consumer spending has to now go up in order to stave off the effects of contraction, because we have been decelerating for a while. That is partially as a result of the tight monetary environment. As that is loosening now, and the environment becomes a bit more eased, you find that persons will want to spend more, and save less. But no, that is what the economy needs in aggregate. Maybe Valentine's Day is that time to kickstart the economic, recovery.
Oh, that, for sure, it's positive. 100%. It's definitely, it's targeted, meaning you don't get as much broad sales across all the departments, but it's predictable. It's predictable, and it definitely contributes to our bottom line positively, 150% positively. Anything that gets in people, more than the norm, like January is typically a very quiet month. And Valentine's really gives you that bump in the first quarter after Christmas. Usually after Christmas, funds are fully depleted, but they always seem to find their way for Valentine's. It's one thing I know, Jamaicans love to express their love in gifts. So I think we benefit from that for sure.
Fontana's latest financial results for the second quarter ending December 31, 2024 showed revenue increasing and all 7 locations with the Portmore store improving substantially over its prior year. The company also posted increases in all key areas, including sales by categories, scripts, average scripts, and number of transactions. With strong cash flows and a healthy balance sheet, Fontana is well positioned for future growth opportunities that will strengthen its leading retailing position. As the days wind down and businesses close their doors, the impact of Valentine's Day lingers beyond the exchange of gifts and romantic dinners. From small vendors on the street of downtown Kingston to high-end restaurants along the coast, one thing is absolutely certain: love fuels commerce. The ripple effect of this single day stretches across industries: retail, hospitality, transportation, and even digital services. It's not just about grand gestures, but the quiet economic hum of a country where the business thrives on emotions. And that wraps up our journey into the sweetheart economy, where we provided you with a closer look at Valentine's Day and its impact on Jamaica's businesses and the economy. From bustling retail stores to packed restaurants and the small vendors who keep love alive, it's clear that this day is more than just romance. It's revenue. Thanks for joining us. Until next time, keep supporting local businesses, keep celebrating love, and keep the economy thriving, one Valentine gift at a time.